For the past couple of years, the whole story around AI at work seemed pretty straightforward, right? Bring in the tech, boost efficiency, and maybe trim the workforce. But a new study for 2025 has just completely flipped that script. It turns out a whole lot of companies that jumped on the AI layoff train are now saying, whoops, we made a huge mistake. So let's get into what's going on here. All right, so what was the first play? Well, a study from Orgvue found that almost 4 out of 10 businesses, we're talking 39%, went ahead and laid people off specifically because they brought in AI. That was kind of the opening move for a lot of companies.
But, and this is where it gets really interesting, of those same companies, more than half, a full 55%, are now admitting they completely messed up. I mean, just let that sink in for a second. The majority of businesses that cut jobs because of AI are now looking back with some serious regret.
So you have to ask, why the change of heart? What happened in that gap between the layoffs and this sudden wave of regret?
That brings us to the first part of this story. What actually happened during that initial frantic rush to replace people with AI? The reality is pretty sobering. The consequences came fast, and they did a lot of damage.
While some companies were busy pushing their talent out the door, others were seeing their talent walk out all on their own. 34%. This represents a completely different kind of loss, one that was totally self-inflicted.
And here's the kicker. This wasn't just normal employee turnover. We're talking about a third of companies losing really valuable people who actively chose to leave because the AI rollout was so chaotic or poorly communicated. So you see what's happening. It's a two-front talent war. You're firing some people while scaring your best people right out the door.
Which leads to the billion-dollar question, right? Why is this happening? Well, all the data points to one single root cause: a really dangerous knowledge gap right at the very top of these companies.
You can see the confusion in the numbers. A third of leaders just flat out admit they don't have the AI expertise. A quarter of them have no idea which jobs AI could even help, and nearly a third don't know which roles are at risk. So is it any surprise that over a quarter of these companies are just flying blind with no real AI plan at all?
Okay, but it's not all doom and gloom. This is where the story takes a really hopeful turn. After all those painful, expensive mistakes, we're starting to see businesses wake up and pivot. They're moving toward a much smarter and honestly more human strategy.
80%. This number is huge. It represents a massive course correction, a real shift in thinking that's happening right now because of all those early failures.
And that's the big pivot. A full 80% of companies are now planning to invest in their own people, to reskill them, to upskill them, to get them ready for a future with AI. They're finally realizing that their workforce is an asset you develop, not just a line item you try to delete.
So you can see the two playbooks right here, side by side. The old way, the one that's failing, was all about automation and replacement. But the new way, the smart way, is all about augmentation, using AI to make your people better at their jobs, and then reskilling them so they can thrive. It's about collaboration, not elimination.
So, what does this all mean for you and your organization? We're at the actionable part now. This is a clear 5-step playbook for any leader who wants to skip all the mistakes we just talked about and actually get AI right from the start.
Look, it all has to start at the top. Leaders need to invest in their own AI literacy so they actually understand what they're deploying. From there, the focus has to shift from replacing jobs to enhancing roles. You've got to be transparent with your team, create a clear roadmap, and share it. Then, don't wait, start reskilling your people now. And finally, get proactive about what the new jobs of the future look like, where humans and AI work together. And make no mistake, the stakes could not be higher. Getting this right isn't just about avoiding a few blunders, it's about building a massive competitive advantage. The companies that figure this out are the ones that will keep their best people and see insane productivity gains. And the ones that don't, they're just going to be left behind making the same costly mistakes over and over again.
So the big takeaway here? The entire game plan has changed. The goal isn't just replacement anymore. No, it's about building a real partnership between people and machines. And you can only build that partnership if you deliberately, intentionally teach your current team how to work with these new tools, not be replaced by them.